Winfrey, when we spoke last year, you hinted about a wonderful new innovation for the Hong Kong race goer, and we've seen that take place through Adrenaline. Take us through what it is and what's it all about.
I think what we hinted last year is that we, in a way, looked at our customer segments, and especially it's a younger customer segment. And the younger customer segments want to have a completely different experience, as probably you and me. And therefore they process information differently. They want to have a more casual atmosphere. They want to have an interactive experience. And so we created what we call the IBU, which is really practically like a huge iPad, where you can stand around with 8 of your friends. You can, on this table, search the horses, can do your form, and you can do your betting. And we found this kind of interactivity where people, much more graphic-based, younger people, process information in a very cool atmosphere, I think has definitely shifted the perspective of people about horse racing being for more hardcore and more elderly.
We've seen it in action, but how much research and development went into making what it is?
I think this is we did in the customer segmentation, we went into really very long exercises regarding customer focus groups, etc., to understand what the information needs is and how they process information. Then from the technology side, it's a really significant effort, because you have to pull the information and the graphics and everything together from around 45 different systems. So this kind of process, and in the end to get a customer experience which is a completely different one, has got significant money. But what we will do is, this is now the hub for teaching experience racing in a different form. We will transfer this whole information and the betting side now on other tablets, being it iPads or Android platform. So that will we do in the next 4 or 5 months. So, and then in a way we see that this has a really huge opportunity combined with our racing simulator we created. This is another innovation where again people can study form in a simulated form. So we had 200,000 downloads within 2 weeks. Then combined with our betting app, we think that we will shift in a way the betting side much more to the interactive platforms. And we can see we have already 35%, 38% of our betting on interactive platforms in racing.
And I wonder how you measure the success of something like this, something new. Is it measured in turnover, or is it measured in bums on seats? How do you measure it?
I think for me the success, we measure how many people play with it, how many people open up accounts with it. So I think we have a very good measuring system to see this. And if you see that we have attracted completely different customer segments, and what we found from the observation more interesting, especially we have attracted much more females. And the females come as a group. They're standing around the table, and even there's cool music, and some people think they are very cool. I think for them the IBU is cooler.
But if females come, so too then males, don't they? Because where females congregate, so do men.
There seems to be a behavioural pattern which confirms this.
And of course, Adrenaline's not just all about betting and wagering and information. There seems to be a lifestyle approach. There's you can go and see a band there, or music between races.
I think what we try to do, and we do the same practically mirror in the beer garden. I think from our customer research is clear. Younger people don't want to have only mainly a hardcore betting experience. They want to do interactors, they want to do different things, and therefore entertainment. We are in the end, we are in the entertainment business. And this is why we have then the mixture of music, the races, but everything is well timed. For example, if you look at the beer garden, which where you have live music, the horses have parts of the winning post, you have the winning photo, then you have a window of 4 or 5 minutes you use for entertainment, and then the focus switches back to the races. So I think this kind of half an hour between races for younger generation is too long. They want to do something in between, and this we do in Adrenaline, and the same we do in the beer garden. And in the Adrenaline, because you have 2 floors, you can move between different experiences. If you want to a little bit more relaxed and listen a little bit more to music, you go to the 3rd floor. If you want to do a little bit more studying and be a little bit more engaged in the racing betting side, you go to the 2nd floor. So this kind of flexibility, how people want to spend their time, it's very important in a way when you want to attract the younger segment.
Now you've got Happy Wednesdays, and Happy Wednesdays has been a great drive to make it a different race day or race night experience as it is there. What's Happy Wednesday about?
I think Happy Wednesday is about really, we created practically the Happy Wednesday brand, again, to attract the younger segment. And we created a space. The probably base starting point was a beer garden, not because I'm German, but I think this is normally what I think. And we started with the Oktoberfest, because I was sure that, in a way, with an Oktoberfest theme and beer, that this is extremely popular in Hong Kong, and that this was then, in a way, a starting point where we said we create this zone where young professionals, we have probably Wednesday night normally 3,000 to 4,000 young professionals in town. This is a meeting place to be. So we created this attraction, racing with Happy Wednesday fun. So we have fashion shows, we have music performances, we had a wonderful Gangnam Style performance there. And I think you have to create relevance. You have to understand what the segment wants. And this is in the end all about, and that we have created this Wednesday brand where with now Twitter, Facebook, etc., where people share this, and where you create a physical community and you extend it via social media in a social community. And this is a rebranding of racing as not only for what they call here the newspaper uncles who sit there and hardcore customers.
What are you doing for the traditional punter, though? You can't forget your core business, which is your hardened punter here in Hong Kong, of which there are many.
I think if you look at one thing, if you would forget about your core, you would be in deep trouble. Yeah. And this comes back, we have 9 different segments. We used the Happy Valley brand and for the younger segment, which is practically more familiarization. But we have really studied very intensively what the different segments are. And if you look at our hardcore customers, for example, here in Happy Valley, I think we have created a new betting hall experience, which I think is unmatched around the world, which huge video screen, every information there, in a way, easy available, very easy from the betting side. So then, in a way, we go to the medium segment. We have found out that, for example, even if you look now at 25 to 35-year-old professionals, significant spendable income, and they are not members of the club. We had not enough venues to cater for this middle class. So we created, for example, in Happy Valley, we created the gallery, where, again, everything you can do on iPad. So that is an experience. We will create the same here. Then we go back, in a way, to our member segment, where we have invested significantly for this segment, because we had the problem Wednesday nights, we have to turn people away. We have not enough sit-down venues. So, and then, in a way, in the owner segment, I think we have geared this definitely up, especially if you look here at Sha Tin, where we invested significantly. So if one looks now that we spend alone around 750 million between the last interview and today, and we have a plan for another around 2 billion now in the next 2 years. So we think it's very important. Customer segmentation means customer segregation. You have to create the experiences, and this is why I think we are successful, probably revitalizing and restructuring our customer base. Our customer base has grown by 25% within 2.5 years, which is a good sign.
We're at Adrenaline, and Scarlett, what a great name for a venue like this, Adrenaline, because for a punter, be they professional or maybe a newcomer, it's a drive to get involved in this great sport, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. This is racing is a great sport, and here in Adrenaline, it is our actually a new racing experience for the novice customers.
Where did the idea come from? Because racing people all over the world have always sought the next idea, the next big thing to make racing relevant. Where did this come from?
Where it comes from is that we have a problem, right? The problem that we have to solve is that how to actually bring this all greatness, the greatness of the horse racing game, to the novice customers, the younger generation. And then so we did a study, and then we did some brainstorming about how to break through the constraint for the novice customers. What they see as an issue is that the product, it is the product information, a lot odds-oriented, statistical-oriented. They want to make it, they want to understand it. They think it's a great game because they see people engage in it, the fun in it, but they are not able to understand it. And then, there are a lot of steps from the horse, you're picking a horse, picking a bet, and then a transaction. So it's for them, it's also trying to understand this whole process is not easy. So what we are trying to do is that we know that with this digital trends that's emerging in the world, and also with the social and fun trend of the world, of the younger generation, what we do is that we basically simplify the racing information into 4 anchors, make them graphical, the way that they used to see the information.
Those 4 anchors, what are they? I mean,
they are the jockeys and trainers, of course, very important. Horse in terms of performance, we call it ability, and then fitness in terms of the morning track work. How ready are they for the races? And all this type of statistical information is available in our IBU that will allow customers to systematically understand them. Of course, the last anchor is the extra. Extra is when it's the track bias, when there's a draw number, when there are things that in that particular race that we want to tell the customers. So what the customers can do is that in this adrenaline with the IBU, they are able to really get coached through the process systematically, but not through people, but through the interface with IBU.
So the process here, you've got these 2 magnificent desks we'll look at, but you've got staff here which will lead the punter through the process. Ambassadors, good word for it, Tell us about what their job is.
What their job is to actually highlight the key things to note for the races, and also to really help the customers to get through the process. Although in terms of using the smart card, in the start, but most of the customers actually can do that, pretty easily, quite intuitively, because now that there's iPad, there are different form of tablets, people are very used to this type of interface.
But information moves so quickly, and with horse racing, statistics change. So obviously, the program's built, but all information that goes in must change as quickly as a race day.
Yes, this is the part that we truly actually bring a breakthrough. This is the world first multi-touch table that with enterprise application. What it is that it actually takes all the real-time information and be able to actually get through to the customers through the IBU. At the time when the information change. For example, if there is a horse withdrawal, you will immediately reflect in this table. And then all this real-time information you will get. In fact, even for parade ring video, it is now on demand at the customers. You push the horse number, you want to see the parade ring video, and once it's available, it's at your fingertip. So it's not you don't have to wait until TV screens come up with the horse.
But adrenaline, is, as much as it is this, which is just behind us, it's also the whole package, which is entertainment. Customers can come here and enjoy a drink, a social side, some music. There's a good blend of everything here.
Yes, exactly. This is how, in fact, we built in the integrated experience into this place. If you look at IBU, a major breakthrough in this is that it's the table for 8 stations. 8 people can play this together. Why we want to do that? Because we want racing to be social and fun. When 8 people are actually working on how they actually choose the horse, they would really be interested to try to understand from each other. They will talk, even that they may not know each other. There are people watching behind them, and it becomes a great community game that people actually have social side and also have fun throughout the process.
Okay, we're logged into the table. We're logged into the table here, Scarlett. Now I've got to check my balance. What have I got in there?
Let's do that. So we still have $30,000.
Oh, happy days.
So let's try to pick a horse for this race.
Let's look at number 2.
Number 2 is that where the tip comes from?
So we drag the horse to us, which is like a regal army. But why am I backing this horse? What information have I based that on?
So let's see what's the commentary. It ran actually 3rd when debuting this trip in season, so it's new, and can expect better results after trip experience.
Okay.
So we can continue.
So that for a novice, that comes in with information, just a simple read.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. So do you think it's a good bet?
I think it's a good bet. Now we're having $150 on it, aren't we?
Okay. Yeah,
so
that's right.
Track work video. So it comes up like that. That's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah. So do you think it read nicely?
Well, we'll
ready and
time.
fit for the
times there,
race?
you can make your own opinion, can't you? It's all about that. But the thing is, the information's there, and then it's up to you to decide whether you think that's relevant.
And also, it contains basically all the mind game information available for understanding this game, so that it doesn't go out and then leave the night, but do not still understand what racing is about.
Well, there are plenty of racing specialists around the world, also here in Hong Kong, but there's only one at Happy Valley, because she's the anointed racing specialist, Sarika, aren't you? Where's that title come from?
Yes, well, I'm actually the racing specialist here in the Hong Kong Jockey Club, and our team are here to help people out and to share our thoughts and give comments on horses and during each race. So to accompany people and make them feel happy here.
And that's what this is about. Happy Wednesdays is the great theme that Jockey Club's worked on here on Wednesday nights at Happy Valley and, of course, at Sha Tin.
Yes, true. So the Happy Wednesday goes here in Happy Valley every Wednesday, and we have the beer garden, we have the adrenaline, and we have the gallery, and we always have different kinds of events going on, and it's a very, very good time and experience to spend your Wednesday here at the race course.
So every week's a bit different. It's a theme, so the beer garden, and there's different music and different singers. And what's the idea of it all? What are you trying to generate out of it?
Well, we want to make it as a very happy experience for everyone, and it's not only about the races, it's about different kinds of parties and events. For example, during the Oktoberfest, we have the German Beer Festival, and for this month, we have the Gangnam Style Korean theme. We have a competition going on, and sometimes some drinking contests, and at the beer garden, it's always a very good atmosphere and a very, very fun place to spend your Wednesday night with your friends.
The bottom line always is about the racing and the betting, and this venue we're in right now, Adrenaline, is just a great innovation for racing. How have you found it with the people coming into Adrenaline?
Well, yes, it's a very, very great innovation, as you have just said. We have the IBU here, Interactive Best for You. It's a very new machine that helps people to learn more about racing. It's based on some very simple factors, especially for new learners to stimulate their interest and let them know more about racing and the horses.
The club seems very focused on the customer, about the people who come through the gates, and they seem to try and make that a win-win situation for everyone.
Right. After all, Hong Kong Jockey Club is all about charity, so we just want everyone to have a great fun time here to spend with their friends and families and everything.
In Australia, wagering has been quite stagnant. There's minimal growth throughout the previous season. What about in Hong Kong?
I think if you look at the last season was extraordinary, where we practically were up by 6-7%. At the moment, we're up by 4%. I'd be cautiously optimistic that we can keep the 4%. But looking at the overall circumstances of economy, there is definitely, one has to be a little bit mindful. But for me, the most important thing is not only the turnover growth. It is for me that we have grown the customer base, and that we have, I would say, rejuvenated the customer base, that we have got some younger customers in. And that is, for me, in the end, the basis for growth.
You're always strong on the presentation of your product, what information comes to the punter, and they're very much, you know what they want in terms of mounting yard coverage and information. You had some issues this year with Australia, with some of the races you took, and obviously it's a big concern to you.
Yeah. I think, in a way, can understand, again, this comes with customer segmentation. If you have, for example, a more leisure-focused program about the Melbourne Cup, and you have a band practically 30 seconds before the start, if you put this product into our betting shops, you create a lot of nuisance.
Yeah.
So, and I think we, with our very good partner Victoria, VRC, we discussed this, and I think we need to see a change. Because I think if not, we will have hygiene issues with our customers who are extremely unhappy. It was a wonderful band, but they wanted to see the horses at the gate and not listen to a band.
Sure.
Who and this probably one has to understand if one does media rights. I think I can understand that TV stations want to protect their intellectual property rights and they pay for it, but you have to facilitate a more wagering-orientated customer, that you fulfill their needs. And this is why it's important. You have to understand your customers. And if you know our customers want to have this kind of information, looking at our simulcast turnover, which has grown significantly. For example, if you look at the Arc de Triomphe, 65% of the worldwide turnover on the Arc de Triomphe was coming from Hong Kong. And we have seen a growth of 15-20% in the last 1-2 years.
Obviously, you've got a case of co-mingling of pools and the international races that you take. You're a big business for Australian racing when you do take our racing to bet on for the Hong Kong punter. How important is it to expand the number of races you can take?
We have reached in principle agreement with the government that the taxation, that we will avoid double taxation. So if a customer in Australia would bet into the Hong Kong pool, there would be tax, the bet would tax in Australia but not in Hong Kong. And if he would bet into the Australian pool, then I think there would be a taxation here, and we expect that then the bet who goes to Australia would not be taxed there. So that's the principle the government has agreed. I hope that we can start commingling in the 13-14 season, which is a breakthrough. The number of simulcasts is still a discussion. I'm cautiously optimistic, especially in the lead-up of the Asian Racing Conference, that we have a chance to see some movement. But at the moment, I would say probably the framework is 15 race meetings outside of our races. That at the moment probably will at least have to live with for a year.
And I'm pretty sure that you think there'll be no impact on wagering in Hong Kong if you took more international meetings?
No, I think definitely not. I think for me, if you look, for example, the off-season, we know that in the off-season, our customers go somewhere else. We know in a way, we have, for example, the international races who were not betting as well as local races 4 or 5 years ago. With the simulcast and the familiarization of our customers with the top horses coming here, that has helped tremendously the international turnover. Yeah. So I think we see this as a win-win and a synergetic development, and we don't see this as a substitution.
What about China? Where are we at with China? You've invested a lot of money and IP into China.
I think in a way, if you look at one thing, in China we developed this wonderful clubhouse where we have now the first members of this Beijing clubhouse are eligible for horse ownership in Hong Kong. But we do this very carefully because we think it's a completely new culture. It is completely new to them, so one has to do it not to think about a quick win. And our Beijing members are extremely engaged. They come to the international races, they fly in for some other meetings. So we will see a slow growth of mainland-based owners as lifestyle, having horses in Hong Kong. Then we invest significant money in building a training center. This training center is to really upgrade our facilities, which we cannot do here in Hong Kong due to space. Racing in China, I think a lot of people are very optimistic. Hardware is easy, but building the software, and this has to go from racing control, training of staff, veterinary, farriers. I would say that's a long journey, and that needs a political discussion. You can have racing for racing, but there is a certain funding mechanism which is called betting, and I think this is a very serious political decision, and I would say that I would not be too optimistic that this will come soon. And then at the moment, for example, all sports wagers or sports lotteries are on a 31% takeout rate. So if you would run racing with a 31 takeout rate as an operator, you would create an illegal market. And I think that one has to put in the overall perspective.
You talk about illegal market. How big is the illegal market in this area?
I think for me the illegal market I would define as betting on Hong Kong racing, which is not done with us.
Yeah.
So there is the illegal market in Hong Kong. There's definitely an illegal market in Macau and in China. But I would call it an illegal or illegitimate market, even in other countries, who in a way probably take our intellectual property rights and don't, in a way, contribute. I would guess that the total legal market on Hong Kong racing is in the region of probably around 30 to 40 billion. So around half of our turnover.
Integrity has been a big issue in Australian racing, and the brand, the image of racing seems to have been tarnished at home. And obviously you've got a very strong hand in how you deal with integrity. Is it an issue here, or has the Australian product been affected here?
I think in a way the brand damage is not only in Australia, it is here too. Because I think, for example, if you have a jockey like Damien Oliver, who is a terrific guy, but we have the Chinese newspaper saying, look, again Australian jockeys. So I think there is even here in the Chinese newspaper saying, is there something wrong with the integrity of Australian racing? I would not go that far. But perception-wise, I think it has created a lot of interest here in Hong Kong. So it is not only in Australia, so it has, I think, a much wider cost. I think we are very Australian-centric if you look at jockeys, trainers, etc. I personally think it is the issue, and I know in a way that some people were critical in Australia when we took very hard measures against a jockey who was selling information. And this is a customer. You cannot have to think about consumer protection. And everybody in the industry has to be very clearly aware. Integrity is key. Without integrity, the trust in the brand, the trust in racing is gone. And this is why I think we really see this as concern. We try in a way, very strongly in a way, talk to our jockeys, emphasize the value system, and we have a very strict control. And if we, for example, are aware that certain jockeys have a contact to people we see as a risk, we have definitely different tools to do this, because we would not license them. This is in a much more different political environment, much more difficult. So I think it's a much tougher job for our colleagues in Australia. But I personally think if one has clear evidence, one has to be very determined, and I think it should be draconian measures taken to root this out, because I think this is for worldwide racing a significant damage.
And it follows drug testing as well. Drug testing, it's the next pillar of the integrity.
I think it goes in everything in a way, and this is why we have introduced here, even with our work riders, that we do in a way drug tests. And I think for me it is not acceptable if you look even at contamination issues. You cannot have an owner, and if you have people who are on drugs, be it recreational drugs, etc., where they get them from, you create a risk, and you have to try to minimize risk. Sometimes you're seen as not liberal, but in the end, in a way, if you look at Hong Kong racing, where we create a tax revenue of 11 billion from racing, there is no, in a way, leniency in relation of integrity and to protect it.
Of course, this is the week you show off here in Hong Kong, Winfred. This year you have a new brand sponsor in Longines taking over Cathay Pacific. It's obviously a great week to be here in Hong Kong.
I think in a way we were very grateful for the sponsorship of Cathay, but we had the feeling that Cathay would not be willing to grow this further. And looking at, in the end, what we're selling is lifestyle. And Longines is definitely a lifestyle brand. It's about elegance, so I think the brand mix is even better. Looking at the advertising, how they support this event from the global perspective, I think we are very happy that we have this partner. And probably when we talk next year, we will see more innovations.